From mafia bosses visiting psychiatrists to mobsters beating up casino cheaters with hammers, mob movies have introduced all kinds of storylines about the mafia over the years. But exactly how much of it's true? Well, this ex-mafia boss is about to tell you exactly that. Michael Franzese is a former capo from the Colombo crime family. They were one of the 5 New York Mafia La Cosa Nostra families. Interestingly, Michael spent 20 years caught up in that life, but now all that is behind him as he spends his time traveling the country as a motivational speaker, and even has a job as a movie critic, it seems. He sat down with Insider to give his 2 cents on some famous mob movies, and boy, he did not hold back. He started with The Godfather, an American cinema classic that focuses on the all-too-powerful American-Italian crime family of Don Vito Corleone, who's handing over the reins to his son, Michael. It's one of the greatest movies ever made, but not in Franzese's eyes. Apparently, the movie might not have presented an accurate picture of the mob life. Remember that scene where Sonny is killed? Yeah, well, according to Michael, it would have never happened in real life. Because first, it's a lot of work, and second, they've got too many guys. Mob hits are usually done at close range with small caliber guns. Unfortunately, Franzese didn't have something nice to say about the sequel either. He watched a scene from The Godfather 2 where Senator Geary tries to strong-arm Michael but fails. According to the ex-mobster, there's no way a politician would have talked to one of them like this in real life. The mob had infiltrated all levels of society, from the guy on the street all the way up to the White House. So for a politician to talk back like this, yeah, well, it wouldn't have happened, because most probably he would have been in the mafia's pocket. There's one scene in A Bronx Tale where Detective Belsick has everyone out in the street to find out the murderer. Michael watched that one too, and here again he said that the local police wouldn't have bothered them like that. Not to mention that the entire scene was just unrealistic. Working with the police and telling them that, hey, one of these guys might be guilty in broad daylight, you're essentially just becoming a rat or a snitch. And in the mafia world, there's a price for that. But The Godfather did manage to get one thing right, and that was the kiss of death between Michael and his brother Fredo. Franzese said that it was, in fact, a Sicilian thing and could have definitely happened in Italy. Surprisingly, the ex-mob found himself moved by the scene. I think it had to do with the fact that he, too, had a brother turned informant whom he hadn't seen in 10 years. On that note, mob movies don't just accurately capture the relationship of betrayal between brothers. They also get it right with the big guy. Michael watched a scene from Analyze This, a movie about a psychiatrist who has his hands full with an insecure mob boss. He watched the part where Ben Sobel meets the big Italian guy, and guess what? There are guys like them in real life. According to Michael, Italians eat a lot, and some of them can get really big. But what about the big guys beating up people? Well, Michael is here to tell you that's all real as well. The ex-mafia boss watched a scene from Casino. It's a movie about a casino executive and a mafia enforcer fighting over a gambling empire. And in this particular scene, Ace, the mafia enforcer, was handing out divine punishment to a cheater at a casino. There was a hammer involved, and as uneasy as the scene might make you feel, that's what it's like in real life as well. Shocking, I know, but according to Franzese, they really don't tolerate heaters in mob-run casinos. So it was either hacking up hands with hammers or breaking legs. And if anyone thought De Niro was too dressed up for the occasion, that's just how it was. Believe it or not, mobsters have quite a number of funerals and marriages to go to. It's mostly out of respect, and so they just end up with a closet full of suits. And it's not just suits. If you think mobsters don't sit around saying forget about it, then boy, do I have some news for you. Yep, I'm talking about that famous scene from Donnie Brasco. Folks might think that it's too out of character for mobsters, but Franzese is here to tell you that this is one of the most realistic sadistic scenes out there. Forget about it really does have a lot of meaning for mobsters. What's more, they also have a lot of sit-downs, according to Michael. They even had dinner at a sit-down. And if you think this is a little cheesy, wait till you hear about the nicknames. You remember that scene from Goodfellas where the crew is introduced, right? And they all have these weird nicknames? Yeah, well, according to Franzese, that's just how it is. Michael had guys named Benny Eggs and Fat Tony Salerno in his own crew, and it's because one just liked eggs and the other one was just fat. So the weird nicknames in movies are spot on. And you know what else all the mob movies managed to get right? The loan sharking. There was one Shylocking scene in Mean Streets, which is a movie about a small-time mobster getting in over his head with a big-time loan shark. In the particular scene that Franzese watched, where Jimmy goes to collect money from Jimmy Shorts and Johnny Boy, Michael revealed that the scene was very accurate. Everybody from that particular walk of life was in that business. And that's how these things went down. Looks like the directors did their research. If only I could say the same for The Irishman. Turns out that this Martin Scorsese flick was not a whole lot accurate. The film follows the life of one truck driver as he gets involved with the wrong crowd. And Franzese had the chance of watching it. And guess what? He had some opinions about the Joey Gallo killing since it happened during this time. According to him, the scene was pretty accurate. He did stumble out on the street, and they did shoot him while his family was there. But there's one thing, Sheeran wasn't the shooter. So not so accurate after all, right? Which, in hindsight, is something I can look past. Sure, they don't get the story straight, but at least they got their actors to look the part, you know? Remember The Untouchables? It's about this big-time mobster, Al Capone, running his drug empire while a federal agent, Elliot Ness, tries everything in his power to stop him. Well, Robert De Niro played Capone in the movie, and according to Franzese, De Niro certainly looked the part. Most people think Capone was this 50-year-old guy, when really, he was just 29. But that's all there was to him. The movies portrayed him as this bigger-than-life person, but in reality, he wasn't bigger than the next hitman on the list even. Maybe the Mafia wasn't just being open about their feelings. At least that's what I gathered as Michael reviewed The Sopranos. The series focused on Tony Soprano, a Mafia head, as he confides in a psychiatrist about struggling with his criminal and personal life. But that kind of stuff wouldn't have flown with the Mafia in real life. According to Franzese, if a mob boss was ever visiting a psychiatrist, he'd be in the trunk of his car by the end of the week. Him and his psychiatrist. Not very pro-mental health of them, if you ask me. And that's all about an ex-Mafia boss reacting to mob movies.